2.
All right, hello everyone, and welcome to tomorrow, our first episode of 2024. That's right, new year, same us, same mistakes. We're going to have a lot of fun talking about everything that's going to be coming up very, very soon. And in just a little bit, we will be talking about the sort of thumbnail of what we have today, which is Vulcan. That's right, United Launch Alliance's very long overdue answer to SpaceX's Falcon 9 is finally going to be flying tonight, possibly for the first time. So very, very excited for that. And I think we're going to probably start with that. But first of all, I'm Jared, going to be sort of being a little bit of the discussion quarterback today. And then to my other direction here is Dutta, right in the middle. Dutta is our technical side quarterback for today. And then all the way on the other side is Ryan, who is going to be our discussion, wide receiver today. Sorry to throw American football terms at you, Ryan. And you too,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Frankly,
That's all right. I don't either.
I was going to say, frankly, me too, because I don't even really watch football. So why don't we just cut the sports and head in straight to space? Ryan, what we got? Something that's a little bit big happening tonight, possibly.
Let's hold on that. What else?
What do you mean?
Promised. We teased in our last show that we were going to talk about all the things that we're excited for in 2024.
Yes.
Let's leave that one to the end, just because it's like coming.
You've got to get the retention up. People need to have a reason to stick around.
So see, this is the great thing, which is that if I had a thing in my ear, Dutta would be able to say, "No, don't talk about that yet. Don't talk about that yet." But Dutta's not in my ear, so he gets to do it on air, and then I get to turn as red as a tomato. As I realized that I literally was just like we're going to talk about that later. But first,
we just said that.
Again, New Year's, same mistakes. So everybody, we're all excited.
Cut. We'll take it from the top. We'll start over. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't think that's how live shows work. Here, yes. So all of y'all, 2024 is going to be a very, very busy year in space. 2023, as we talked about last week, absolutely off the chain. It was the busiest spaceflight year in human history. Nothing has come close to everything that went down last year. Most amount of launches, most amount of payloads deployed. Oh my God, it was just every superlative that you could throw in the world of spaceflight happened last year. So
what a time to be alive.
Yeah, I mean, if you were excited several years ago, man, it's just getting better. It gets better and better every year. And 2024 is looking to possibly, thank you, Gup, is looking to possibly surpass 2023. And we've got a lot to look forward to. What are you all looking forward to?
Working.
Well, not everybody at once. So please, I know that there's so many things to choose from, but don't everybody get with that.
What do we have? So, what do we have coming up? Give me a rundown of what we've got coming up.
Okay, well, obviously Vulcan. We're what? Oh my gosh, we're almost like 13 hours as of this recording away from that. What else? What else do we have? Well, I will just say this. ISRO is like the India Space Research Organization. They are just accelerating into a wheelhouse that I've just never seen a space agency hit. Like they just launched a X-ray polarization astronomy called ExpoSat. They just yesterday successfully inserted their solar mission. I believe it's pronounced it's ADITYA-L1. I'm not even going to try. It just rolls off the tongue. It is Sanskrit for sun. So there you go. But that is their spacecraft that they have that is out at L1 that is going to study the sun. ISRO's just doing a lot of stuff. They're going to hopefully fly a uncrewed mission of their crewed spacecraft at some point this year. So they're not the newest kids on the block, but they sure are stepping up into places that some countries had been at a level of Russia, and just kind of becoming, I think, the number 3 in the world right now.
All right, I just did a quick search, and the first place it brought me to was PBS, and there's 6 space. And Jared, how dare you? There's 6 space missions to look forward to in 2024.
Well, yes, I haven't gotten.
Why don't you know these off the top of your head? There's Europa Clipper, Artemis 2.
Yes.
Viper to search for water on the moon.
Yes. Actually, there's a whole host of lunar missions that are going to be
Lunar
happening.
Trailblazer and Prime 1 missions.
You're going to have to pick a lot. Nova C, Blue Ghost. Shall we just continue throwing off the lunar missions that are coming up?
Jax's Martian Moon Exploration mission. ESA's Hera mission.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Going to Didymos to look at Didymos's moon, Dimorphos, or the moon formerly known as Diddy.
All right. So how are we back on ULA's Vulcan already? Let's talk about those. What are you excited about? What are they?
Well, to kind of chat about them a little bit, we could start at Europa Clipper, which I believe is the first one that you mentioned. Which, if you can right now, go get a tour at JPL, because Europa Clipper is in their spacecraft assembly facility, and you can go see it in person, which I may or may not be doing very shortly here. But Europa Clipper are going to be sending a spacecraft to go study Jupiter's moon Europa up close in situ as it orbits around the planet. And it's going to launch this year on a Falcon Heavy. It'll launch in October, so it's going to be a nice birthday present for me. It's going to make several flybys, actually, of multiple moons, but the focus is on Europa. So it's going to do 2 flybys of Io and 4 flybys of Callisto. But Europa, that is the one that we are focused on. So, and it's going to be having at least 8 flybys, anywhere ranging from about 3,600 kilometers above the surface all the way down to as low as 200 kilometers above the surface of Europa, which is going to be unbelievably close, considering I don't believe Galileo, which was the spacecraft of Jupiter from 1995 to 2003, got anywhere close to that there. I could be wrong, and if I am, someone in the comments will absolutely correct me today. So it's there to study, see if Europa has any habitability to it, and it is looking to try to find 3 things, which is liquid water, chemistry, and energy. Let's officially confirm Europa for liquid water. Let's look at the chemistry that's occurring that we can actually see, and then where's that energy coming from to kind of figure that out. So ice, we got ice shell and ocean. What is the composition of everything? And then what's the geology that makes it tick? So that's kind of how it works. So hard part about that, you're flying through that big donut that is a unbelievably potent field of radiation around Jupiter. So it's got to dip in and come through and kind of work with that there. So, but I'm just getting a correction now from myself, which is actually, it's not going to be 8 flybys of Europa there. That would actually be Galileo itself. So I was reading out Galileo. I got them confused there. So Galileo did 8 flybys of Europa, its closest being 196 kilometers. Europa Clipper, as you can imagine, well focused on Europa, will be doing 44 flybys of Europa during its 3.5-year mission, ranging anywhere from as high as 2,700 kilometers to, get this, skimming the surface of Europa at 25 kilometers, 25 kilometers above the surface. So that is razor thin. That is unbelievable that you can use that kind of precision. Oh man, that's at the speeds that you're moving at, that's a couple, like you are arriving where you need to be within a couple of seconds. That is absurd with that there.
I
Amazing.
reckon they could get it closer. This is JPL
Yeah.
we're talking about. I think, maybe 10. If they do 10, I don't know. I can't get them anything, but it's a challenge. It's like an X prize, but there's no prize. So it's just an X. So it's Twitter. You win Twitter if you can get to, let's say, 10 kilometers with Europa Clipper. You win Twitter.
I would say JPL's reputation is a fair prize to be fought for.
Yeah. Honestly. Yeah. If there are several people that we always say don't bet against in the spaceflight industry, and JPL is a entire institution that you do not bet against, because the whole point
they still get a hard time for a conversion error. So
they do, which reading up on it, not entirely their fault. But then again,
right.
you are in the loop for something like that. Like it is
You're
on you.
You're on the hook.
You are supposed to triple and quadruple check your work, and nobody's perfect, right? We've got that, we've got Mars Polar Lander and some other stuff, but also, as Cup says it perfectly, they underpromise on the impossible and then they overdeliver. JPL is that group of people that you say don't do that, and they say, "Oh yeah, well, watch this." And then they make it happen. And then not only do they make it happen, they make it happen over and over and over again. And then, they find
for 10 years longer than you thought they were going to make it happen.
And not only do they figure out how to do the impossible, the next time they do it, it's like 50% more efficient. So, like,
right.
it's just such a great group of people. That is not an institution to bet against. They have, I think it's Adam, one of my personal favorite engineers in the history of engineering, Adam Steltzner, described people who work at JPL as the right kind of crazy. Which knowing many people that work at JPL, yes, that is a correct way of describing everybody at JPL, the right kind of crazy. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Outside of the eclipse on April 8th, which is not spaceflight related, but I do recommend if you're in the United States, get yourself into the path of totality for that. I'm going to hopefully firm up my plans to go to Dallas, Texas, for that, so I can watch it from there. But ultimately, go if you're close enough to the path of totality that you can make it within 2 days. What are you doing? You got to go. You got to go experience it. Highly recommend it. And that'll be Monday, April 8th. So, 3 months from now, coming up.
Mark your calendars.
Yep. My calendar has been marked for almost a decade. So that's what I'm excited about this year. There's a lot to come up. Do you all want some more? Because I could keep throwing some more at you. Which is that,
how about one from Ryan? Ryan, what are you excited about in 2024?
Hopefully, some kind of launch from the UK. I don't care who it is. I mean, if it's RFA, it won't even be counted as the UK. It'll be Germany in the statistics. But I don't care. Just any of them.
We tried that.
Any of them. I want them to happen this year.
We tried that. It didn't work.
I know. I mean, this is coming up on Tuesday. Will be the 1 year anniversary of being really cold in the middle of the night in the southwest of England. So that's not something I'm really looking forward to. But there you go. But yeah, I just want launches that go vertically from Shetland or Scotland. It would be nice. It would just be nice. I wouldn't say I'm confident that it's going to happen this year because there's no indications that it will or won't for that matter. But, it would be nice if they could get a move on and launch some rockets. Just been waiting for a little while now.
Do they have anything on the books? Anything scheduled?
They still need to get hardware. No, Siri, I don't want to talk to you. What? Thanks. RFA is still in their testing phases. Skyrora is still in their testing phases. Everybody else, I don't think we've actually seen anything that's even potentially could fly. So we're still waiting to see things. ABL working to return to flight. Still, they're mishap report has been wrapped up, but they seem, at least from what they've been releasing to the press, they seem to be more wanting to flex their, we can launch from anywhere, we can launch on a barge, we can launch from the middle of a road, we can launch from anywhere kind of thing, than like launching
I
from
mean,
fixed infrastructure. But hey, if
don't
ABL wants to
don't
launch, I wouldn't complain about ABL launching.
don't underestimate how difficult it is to launch from a different country.
I won't.
Anybody here is going to know. Yeah. Oh boy, regulatory environments. That's a fun. It's a fun one. We could do a whole show about that.
Adam Baker, do it. Do it.
Yes, do it. Go do it.
Do
What are
it.
you waiting for? Do it. Do it.
Just make sure it's
We
not,
encourage
in the middle of the night.
Or
Aravel's
yes.
Aravel's
In
looking
January.
looking up the nearest hardware stores so that they can start building something for launching from Shetland.
I
Oh
also
boy.
saw many
Yeah.
comments earlier that a lot of people are excited for Starliner.
Oh.
Do you want to
people
just go
are.
around and see who actually thinks Starliner will actually launch this year, or if it's gonna inevitably get delayed again, perhaps? I mean, hopefully the door works. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. I
Real
was just
real
about to
quick,
say that,
real
too.
quick. Chris Parr caught me.
What is it? 7th? Is that
Easter
like
egg.
the Toost? April Toost?
Yes.
So very nice. Yeah, that's a lot. Artvale is asking how many ISS docking windows do we have this year? I don't know. Actually, I don't know if we're privy to that kind of information. So I mean, you could probably calculate it, but at the same time, I don't know if that's like public side info.
Well,
So,
we're probably going
I
to
don't
have
know.
4 dragons, a couple Cygnuses, so probably a couple Soyuzes,
Cygnae.
Soyui, and a couple
Soyuz.
Progresses. So
Cygni.
Cygni.
Progressors.
Prograi.
So it's probably going to be like 8-ish, maybe. You might be able to
Program.
toss Starliner's test flight in there as well, maybe. Perhaps.
Starlens.
Maddie
Sorry.
says they're excited for star launches this year.
Yeah, I think Starliner launches this year as well. So I don't suspect that the door issue on a 737 MAX 9 is going to translate to a capsule. But yeah. Thank you, Chris. As everyone's going to make the joke now about that, I really do hope that everything is smoothed out because there have people on it. So my joking is not necessarily going to be as high, if at all, about this mission. Arabelle says, "You're going to bet that Starliner makes it this year." So I'm not betting more than $3 on it. So I guess it's one you'd want to do a beer bet with, right? So, like, sure, I'll buy you a beer. So, oh, Bennett, NASA is stuck with them in sickness and in health. Oh, get out of here, Bennett. So, Bennett, our current winner. And Dream Chaser, how can we forget our favorite little lifting body friend from down the street, I think, wherever they are in, is it Reno or Colorado? It's one of those places. One of them
Colorado.
places.
Colorado.
I know that. Well, at least I
Colorado.
know they have a place in Colorado because we
Yeah.
saw pictures from there.
I thought they also had a place in Reno, but that might be something entirely different for that there. So, but anyways, yeah, Starliner is ready for Mark Watney, so that's true. And then Arabelle saying very excited for Dream Chaser. Indeed, I think we all are very excited for Dream Chaser. And then I feel like a lot of that comes from the fact that it's a shuttle. So right, it's a little itty bitty shuttle. Everybody loves a little itty bitty shuttle. Hey, there it is. Look at it. It's all folded up. It's ready to go. It's so exciting to see it. Oh, and then did we have the name of it yet? Did they give an official? Tenacity. Oh my gosh, I love it. It's so cute. like, not only does it look cute, it's got a cute name, and it's just like tenacity. That sounds like something I would name like a Yorkie Terrier that just like grabs a toy 3 times its size and is just doing that thing where so like it's reaching for something bigger than itself and it's succeeding at it. So yeah, it's good. It's good. I like it. Yeah.
Bennett says Dream Chaser and Dynetics Alpaca are sitting somewhere having a beer, making plans.
Yeah. What is up with Dynetics Alpaca? Are they still going with it, or what's going on with it? Because I remember I really liked that. I liked Alpaca. So, which for anyone wondering, the Alpaca is a lunar lander that was a part of the competition to get to figure out the human landing system. So, Alpaca was really cool. I like the idea, and also alpaca. How do you not like an alpaca? Like it's alpacas.
It didn't
Alpacas
look
are
anything
cool.
like an alpaca.
It didn't.
In no way did it resemble an alpaca. It was a tube with some engines on it and some landing legs, and that's all it was. There was nothing else.
Yeah, but everyone loves an alpaca. Just don't stick your face in its face, and we'll be good, right? So, like, alpaca, llama, goats, they're like really, I feel like all three of those are underrated and they're great. So I just basically wanted to have it because I wanted to say that there's an alpaca on the moon. That's it. That's the only reason. I wanted Arvale. A question for you, Ryan, is asking, do they have alpacas in the UK?
In zoos, like petting
Ah.
zoos and things like that. That's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
Not with the lions and stuff.
Okay. RML saying I doubt they're moving forward since they didn't get the contract. Yeah, that is one of the things. Aerospace is, of course, littered with the bodies of good ideas that just didn't get money. So.
Well, they say that, but Dream Chaser lost the commercial crew contract, but yet kept developing and managed to get the CRS2 contract. So
Yes.
I doubt there'll be an HLS3, considering all of the fiasco that went on with Blue Origin. Basically kind of demanding NASA to do a second HLS contract just so they could win it. But, if there is an HLS3, maybe Dynetics will put a bid in, or maybe Starship will win it again. Who knows?
Yeah. And what is it? Bennett had a really good one, which was talking about, to see them funded because they're the closest in some way, because they're really the closest that they think. Also, Bennett had a good one about the national team a little further back. There we go. The national team, or whatever they're called, just looks huge, like the original direct asset idea that got replaced in favor of lunar orbit rendezvous. So, yeah, that's kind of how that goes. Okay, everybody is now in our comments is telling us about alpacas, real alpacas. Congratulations on your wild beavers in the UK. So, but everybody's telling us about alpacas. Thank you so much. We appreciate the alpaca love for you all. They're apparently completely native in zoos. So that's a heck of a phrase. That's a heck of a way to say they're all in petting zoos. So,
Come for the space excitement, stay for the alpacas.
That's right. We give the people what they want, and today they are clearly asking for the finest of the ungulates that you can get wool from. So I think they're ungulates. I don't know. Anyways, welcome to nature. Welcome to Nature Walk. So. Benjamin's now asking, do you have hedgehogs in the U.S.? I don't know. Do we have hedgehogs in the U.S.? Does the U.S. have hedgehogs? I don't know. There's a blue
We have them
one.
in zoos. This comment is very British.
Oh my gosh.
John T says they've been to the most northerly house on Unst. There's a distillery next to the spaceport. Let's go.
Yeah,
Well, when everything goes down the drain, you know where to go, and when everything goes really well, you
yeah,
know where to go.
exactly.
But sh- uh, shout out to the Great Western Hotel that put us up last year, and they have on Facebook advertising a buy five get one free offer at their Steam bar in Cornwall.
That their steam bar. What? So first of all, may I ask, what is a steam bar?
Steam is the name of the bar inside the hotel.
Oh, okay. So they were saying buy 5 drinks, you get one for free.
Buy five get one free.
Could it be 6 people? We buy five for each of us and one for somebody, or is there like a British requirement that says you have to buy five for yourself and then you're allowed the one? I don't know how this
I
works.
mean, the way I experienced it, you buy five in one night, and that's the last one is free, and then you go home.
Ah, gotcha. Understood. So,
I'm
well,
not sure. I'm not sure about all the details of their offer,
I
but
will take the
go
finest with the
visit
weakest
go visit
liquids.
them.
Uh, Yeah, I'm sure that'll. I'm sure that'll go over well. I've already made enough people in America mad at me.
tell,
So
tell them Virgin sent you.
yeah, do I want to say that though,
No,
or
no,
are they gonna ask me about bills? So
they'll
I
make you
feel like
pay up front.
I was about to say I don't think I should have. That feels like one of those things where it's like maybe I should have not said that as blatantly as I did. Anyways, but I said it. No one else said it on the show. Just to clarify that. So distillery fuel plant. It's very very true. Um, yeah, Sakura's light there telling them Virgin sent to you. Hey, you still have not paid your tab. Yeah, that's yeah. Well, there's always do they take Zelle or
Sorry.
Cash App or what else are we using nowadays? Can we start a GoFundMe for them? Perhaps
The
works
the
for
one you
us.
had the one you have issue with is a citizen of your country, not mine.
What's up? I don't
I
understand.
said the
I just
one that you have issue with is a citizen of your country, not mine.
oh okay. Fair. My country.
Not your country, their country.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, actually, Bennett's asking a really important one here, which is there a Virgin branded cash app? So, uh,
I'm not sure.
I
there
guess just
was,
go through the
but it,
5 million companies that is in the Virgin Group.
yeah, there
I, I
apparently is Virgin Money.
I
So,
don't have that
which
kind of time.
There's
okay,
Virgin Bet, Virgin Casino. Here we go.
Ugh.
Here it comes.
Are these active
oh boy,
companies?
There's Virgin Money and Virgin Money Australia. So, you know, both sides of the world. I- oh, they're shops. That's not an app. I think the answer is no. There we go. Problem solved.
okay. Well, if they did, they probably sold it to a company in the Mojave who's completely rebranded their colorful logo to just black and white. So, um, me, not you, say that's a as a comment I don't understand there, which is how about the Star Trek? I'm assuming that's original series blocking tonight's launch. This is news to me. There's the original series blocking tonight's launch. I did not realize that had. Yeah, that's okay. Are we talking about like it's playing so you can't watch it in your neighborhood or something like that? I don't know. So I wonder if United Launch Alliance is going to have a new sort of like webcast for that.
Hmm.
So I'm very interested
Um,
in that.
I'm gonna guess no.
So that sounds like what might happen, but at the same time, oh, okay. Me, not you is saying the human remains, right? The cremation. So apparently, some of the original series actors, some of their cremated remains are they on Vulcan or the lander or both?
Both. So
Both.
Celestis, which is the company that organises it, has they have a payload on the Centaur, and then they have a payload on the lander. So I'm not sure if they're gonna like eject everyone like off Centaur or something. Like I don't know if it's gonna be like a
Why?
small like deployer thing, or if it's just gonna stay attached to Centaur, which is gonna put itself in heliocentric orbit. I don't know, but it's going to
Is
be something along those lines. So the lander will land on the moon, the Centaur will end up orbiting the sun.
is this what the First Nations had issues with recently?
Yes.
Their issue is what? They were polluting the moon?
I'm not entirely sure. I think it was something to do with like the moon is sacred, something along those lines. They
Sure.
have previously discussed things with NASA. NASA isn't keeping up their end of the deal, something along those lines. But I don't know all of the details, so I'm not going to like accuse anyone of anything because I don't know. So.
Yeah, that's as you can imagine, that would be a particularly sensitive topic. It's me, not you, saying essentially desecration of the moon with that there. I do want to point out that this would not be the first time. Okay, so Chris Barr is also saying that they believe that human remains desecrate the sacredness of the moon with that there. Um, this isn't the first time that there would actually be human remains on the moon. I believe Gene Shoemaker, who was a planetary geologist, very influential one in the 60s, all the way up to his passing in the 90s. His remains were on board of a mission called Lunar Prospector in the late 90s, which is actually what helped discover signatures of water ice on the moon at that time. That had some of his ashes on board. So I guess just to throw that out there, yeah.
This is what Arvell was saying.
Arvell, yes. So
After NASA sent Shoemaker's ashes to the moon, they agreed to consult the Navajo Nation before doing it again, although this isn't technically NASA. So maybe NASA is holding up their bargain? And this is the
I think
it's not NASA not holding up NASA's bargain?
From what I've read and watched, I saw like a 3-minute CNN interview, so this isn't, don't take this to be gospel, but I think from NASA's perspective, it's a private it's Celestis' private payload on Astrobotic's private lander. However, from the Navajo Nation's point of view, NASA, the lander is a mission contracted by NASA as a part of the Lunar Payload Services 2 contract. So by that point, because it's being contracted by NASA, it's still NASA's responsibility to hold up their end of the bargain, even though from NASA's point of view, it's a private payload on a private lander, because the Celestis payload and the Astrobotic lander, that collaboration isn't to do with NASA, but the reason that the lander is going to the moon is because of NASA, if you understand what I'm saying here. So it's kind of like Astrobotic are kind of doing it because Celestis has obviously paid Astrobotic on behalf of the people remains on board, but the lander wouldn't be there if NASA's funding from the contract wasn't there. So it's kind of like a complicated amalgamation of things.
Yeah, not to be insensitive in any way, but it sounds like the Navajo Nation is expecting more oversight and authority from NASA than NASA is capable of in this contract. Is that fair?
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah, Bennett says, so saying someone is accountable for what their contractors do while working in their name, it's a reasonable point of view, but still, I would imagine some of those relationships and the authority thereof would be kind of tenuous to an extent.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said, too, that historically, and not just in the United States, but throughout the world, First Nations and Indigenous peoples are very much not on the receiving end of a multitude of good things. That's kind of putting it lightly.
Yeah, for
At
sure.
least we could talk a little bit. We could speak a little bit to here in the United States, where it is even today, it is still just unbelievably the marginalization is still unbelievably there. But yeah, this is a really nuanced and sensitive issue, and I feel like it's a really tough one to talk about because of that. So there's a lot of different perspectives that have to come together with this, and I do feel like that the three of us are definitely not going to be able to provide a correct perspective in something like this. So like neither of the three of us could talk on behalf of the Navajo Nation, absolutely, and then I feel like we also can't talk on behalf of Celestis or the FAA or NASA or whoever may be the regulatory body for something like this. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've got Cherokee heritage, not Navajo.
Yeah. So.
Sakura's light says the ashes are going into heliocentric orbit, not to the moon.
There's two of them.
Yeah,
There's going to be
there's
one
two.
on the Centaur. Yeah. So, yeah, and then of course, thank you, R. Vale. We can't speak for NASA, despite the hat and the shirt that we're wearing today. So,
not affiliated.
Just a fan. So, just a fan. Anyways.
Me not used as a solution should be for First Nations to go to the moon and return the remains respectfully. Well, it wouldn't be returning.
Yes.
And I'm not sure that would actually solve the problem. Although I love your optimism and will for spaceflight to be so easy. Mr. Huggy says it would be the FAA that they would have to talk to, not NASA. I don't necessarily think that that's true.
Yeah, and me, not you, in that comment. I definitely appreciate the wanting to bring everybody along on spaceflight too, as we should. Everyone should be welcome to join in on spaceflight with us there. So, thank you, Chris, for that great backronym for NASA there, which is not affiliated.
Not affiliated. Adjacent. Space adjacent.
Space adjacent. So I quite like that. So I will put that one on my business cards.
Bennett says, well, Ryan does work for NASA spaceflight.
That's true. That's true. And,
you always keep that second part quiet when you're trying to, book a important thing or something. You're like, yeah. Well,
I work for NASA spaceflight.
Spaceflight.
JTTP saying they talked directly with the White House at a meeting in D.C. Okay, so that's good. So that's nice to hear that voices are being heard.
Well, being listened to at least. Being heard is something else entirely, I think.
True. Actually, yeah, that's a really good point.
Chris Parr brings up, is anyone else sad that Vulcan's beautiful color scheme won't be applied for subsequent launches? Yes.
Yes.
I still think there's time to convince Tory Bruno to change his mind. I'm optimistic that there is time to convince Tory Bruno to change his mind, because surely in the total cost of the launch, as Vulcan stands, nothing is being reused. You might as well pay to paint the rocket to look cool. If you're not gonna bring it back, at least make it look cool whilst it goes. I mean, it's the least you can do. If you're not going to engineer the booster to RTLS back to the Cape, just make it look cool. Like, it's the least you can do.
Coming from someone whose stipulations and requirements for taking on a contract to design one last pump skid before I left a company included it being painted Delta blue to pay homage to the fact that it was going on in an old Delta launch site. Yes, I want colorful rockets.
Yeah.
Brandon Both carrier plate says paint equals weight. And that's true. But instead of grey paint, do red paint. or red and white paint, or I don't know, just put a vinyl sticker on it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, you could wrap it. I'm sure that's easy. So,
Yeah,
with that, so and
it's
I
not
do
that
have to
big.
agree with Eric, which is that Delta Blue is the best blue.
It is.
So it is. There is no better color than Delta Blue. And I do just want to throw this out there, which is that I have seen original artwork of the Delta 4 Heavy in concepts, and it was Delta Blue. So before the insulation became a thing. So
GTA
that would have been
242 has a
amazing.
good point. Stickers add horsepower.
That's right. That's right. Each sticker is 5 horsepower. So that's a fact. That's a fact. So I think it'd be cool to see each Vulcan Centaur rocket painted in a manner that is like bespoke to the mission that it's going to be flying. You know what I mean? So
Or even
I
better, what if they had a different design per variant? So the number of SRBs dictated, what color and what design it had. Like, what if Tori has confirmed on Twitter that each variant of Vulcan, like Atlas, is going to have its own nickname, right? So why can't each nickname have its own design? Like, why can't two be variant and the flame on the side have a cool name with flames, and that's the flame design. That's what it is. And then say the six SRB variant is like a dragon or something. I don't know. Well, not dragon because SpaceX has already nicked that, but something else cool.
So what you're telling me is we need to call up Chip Poose and get him to do some painting on the rockets, like do some pinstriping down the rocket and things like that, stuff like that. Just really put in the effort to make it look good. By the way, do you guys remember what the original names were proposed before it became Vulcan Centaur?
no.
I don't.
Okay, so
Hopefully you're gonna tell us.
I'm about to tell you because it was originally going to be called the Next Generation Launch System, so NGLS. But of course, that doesn't sound particularly great, right? So
Yeah,
United
Vulcan's
Launch
better.
Alliance, they turned to their employees, and the employees gave them over 400 names, proposals
Was one of
for
them
that. Which is,
Rocket McRocketface?
Yes,
I sure hope
probably.
so. I sure hope so. But there were
Actually,
two. So
actually,
these.
I think that competition predates Bodie McBoatface, doesn't it?
I'm not sure when Bodie McBoatface was. So, but I'm glad about Bodie McBoatface. So I'm glad for it. It can have that. Anything else is a poser. So let's not. So how's that sound? Shall we? When was Bodie? I could see. Are you looking it up, Dada?
2016.
This was absolutely well before Bodie McBoatface.
Yeah.
So this was 2013 when this was happening. So it took them a bit of time, but it was 2015 when they finally got the names. There were 5 names that were originally selected for a public vote that got over 1 million votes. So over 1 million people voted online to do this. 2 of them that did not make the cut immediately, Eagle and Freedom, which honestly,
No. No.
Eagle's been used. That is done. I feel like you cannot name a vehicle Eagle ever again after
Unless it
Apollo
is the
11.
continuation of same design aspects and
No.
requirements.
Just not at all. Not at all. Freedom. I don't think that's a good name for a rocket. It's not good. Like Freedom has had an anomaly. That just doesn't sound great.
Well, we had that last year.
What? Pray tell, do I ask? And
No.
then the final 3 names that were chosen for additional voting was Vulcan, Zeus, and Galaxy One. Which Galaxy One? Let's take that one.
Galaxy One just sounds like the translated name of a private Chinese spaceflight company's first rocket.
Well, nowadays, yes. Back then, this was technically before SpaceX had even landed a rocket. I think it would have worked pretty well. with that there. And Eric reminding us that Endeavour, the good ship Endeavour, has been used for the name of both a shuttle and a dragon, and I feel like they both kind of do the same thing. Um, so, and then Bennett, stopped using Columbia and Challenger and Endeavour. Columbia was already overused in shuttle times. Columbia has been used for a lot of ship names, as has Challenger as well.
Yeah.
And that was ships of sea at sea.
Boats.
But yeah, actual boats themselves. And I feel like also because of the circumstances, especially around Columbia and Challenger, I think it's very much like those names are there's a certain reverence to those names now, so we really can't use them anymore. So yeah, I mean, we could have some fun names of spacecraft. That's kind of how it works. But actually, if you go back to the press conference where they announced the name of Vulcan, they did already have a logo for Galaxy One, for Zeus, and for Vulcan. So I'm looking at the Space News article about it actually.
Do you have
and
those?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull them up really quickly. Who should I send them to?
Just share your screen. We have technology.
Okay, hold on just a sec. Hold on a sec. I gotta get everything lined up here, ready to go. We have the technology. We can reshare it.
You can do it, Jared. I have faith in you.
I'm working on it. How do I do this with this here? Okay, there we go. Hopefully it's coming through nice and good. Look at them! We got Vulcan all the way over there on the left, which is the logo that we're now very well familiar. In the middle, we have Zeus, which looks like it's got, a very nice typeface spelling out Zeus and a lightning bolt in it there. And then there's another one to the right, which is Galaxy One. And it looks like it's got a circle with some sort of curved line through it, like the arc of a rocket off of the launch pad, with Galaxy being blue and One being green. So beautiful. Just beautiful.
We have a payload to launch and we need your help.
I'd also
Very,
just
very
like
nice.
to point out that according to British pronunciation, SpaceX's flagship vehicle with 9 engines sounds exactly the same as ULA's new vehicle with 2 B4 engines.
Yes. That's because you're saying it wrong.
Yes.
The only reason I pronounce it Falcon is because of the very reason that SpaceX call it Falcon, the American pronunciation, and it's more easier to distinguish between Falcon and Vulcan than Falcon and Vulcan.
Well, that's a very interesting point that we try to do here at Tomorrow, which is that we usually try to pronounce things based on the way that the actual company or the person is pronouncing it, as opposed to like regionally how we would pronounce it. So, I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, we got a lot of flack when we were mispronouncing Chinese names for things. So we tried to fix that. Like, I don't think we really ever told the world that somebody who actually was like fluent in Mandarin came in and helped us learn how to pronounce things correctly, and sort of the basic conventions of the. By the way, just want to throw this out there: multitude of languages in China. It's not just Mandarin. There's many dialects that are spoken throughout China. Just like here in the United States, there's a multitude of dialects, right? Like you've got Californian, you've got Southern, you've got, I was just about to say New England, but not even that. You've got New Yorker, Bostonian, Pennsylvania. There's just a whole grouping of sub-languages in there as well. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm just going to stop. The bit sounded good, and then I did it, and it wasn't. But no one's going to ever say I don't commit to things when I do them.
You commit.
for better or for worse. But that will be happening tonight. Hopefully that first launch of Vulcan or that. Hopefully that launch happens tonight. Which I just want to point out that there's actually supposed to be a Starlink launch first, 10 hours before Vulcan's first flight. So the disrespect of this generation. But Vulcan Centaur is going to be flying at 0718 Coordinated Universal Time. So I'm very, very excited about this. It's carrying Astrobotics Peregrine commercial lunar lander. Very rarely do you ever see a first flight of a rocket carrying a payload that is like extremely important, like something like that. So
Yeah. I'd say the last time we saw a maiden launch carry a payload like remotely close to as important as this would probably be STS-1 because, you know, it carried crew, which, you know, I would argue is much more important than a lunar lander. But a lunar lander is certainly up there in terms of uncrewed payloads. This is probably going to be tippity top of the maiden launches of a vehicle.
yeah, I think I think for at least the United States with our launch vehicles, all of them, yeah, H3 as well. I believe Atlas V and Delta IV flew payloads on their maiden flights. And Delta IV.
Did they fly a lunar lander on their maiden flights?
No, they didn't. And Delta III also flew. Delta III, my favorite of the evil deltas, as I like to call them. Delta III, bridging the gap between Delta II and Delta IV. That's my impression of a Delta III. I'm trying to think. What are some other ones? Well, obviously, Space Launch System flew a payload on its first flight. So, yeah. So of those that I can think of, the only ones that really didn't go so good, I'd say that was Delta III, but also that just kind of described Delta III as a whole. Good idea, but just
and
bad.
don't most inaugural flights, or aren't most inaugural flights just orbital?
Typically, yes. So
Like
unless
this is a big swing.
yes, unless you're Ares 1 or Starship, then your inaugural flight is suborbital. So, although I don't think we want to get back into the Ares 1 IFC
Ares 1X flew higher than Starship on its maiden flight.
No,
There's no, let's not get back into this, because the facts have been laid out time and time again. Ares 1X's first flight was clearly much more successful than Starship, so we can move on now.
I'd like to say that Ryan has said that, and Ryan can be reached at NASA Spaceflight's problem. PO Box. Do you do that on NASA Spaceflight as well? Because obviously I don't catch everything you guys make, but do you bring up Ares 1X and
my
how great it is?
my opinions on every rocket doesn't change depending on whatever channel I'm on. My opinion of Ares 1X is that its first flight was more successful than Starship's first flight. It doesn't matter wherever I am, it's the truth. You can't deny the truth. It flew higher than Starship.
That's it. That's a great one.
But it says Ryan says Ares 1X is clearly the best space shuttle.
Now that one I deny.
Oh my god.
Hoopable, Ares 1X recovered the booster as well. This is what I'm saying. This is why it is. You know, NSF is a serious news organisation. We tell people facts. We don't clickbait people into false Starship news. You know. And and to uphold our journalistic integrity, we need to tell the facts. And the facts are, Ares 1X's maiden flight was far more successful than Starship's. I think that's the end of the matter. It's just a fact. undeniable facts.
Ares 1X only broke parts of the pad above ground, not into the ground. Easier to repair.
And they were rehauling the pad anyway. It didn't matter.
I don't know. So,
if anything, Ares 1X helped to accelerate the development of the new clean pad for SLS. Ares 1X helped to accelerate the ground support system construction process by destroying some of 39B for NASA's ground contractors.
Oh, Stephen is challenging you, Ryan. By what measure? By what measure was Ares 1X better
than Starship's first flight? It flew higher. It performed all mission objectives as expected. The booster was recovered. The first and second stages separated. I can go on.
Your turn, Stephen.
I can give you all the measures.
Here he comes. You've got him worked up. What
now
have
I've got to wait
done?
for the chat to catch up.
So the movement. I will say this: the movement of Ares 1X during separation was a potential expected issue. So it wasn't like during IFT1 where the movement of Starship Super Heavy as a whole was an unexpected issue. So
Benjamin Dudu says, well, the Ares 1X isn't as big or heavy. Wrong. Ares 1X is the same height as SLS. Ares 1X is tall. It is huge. It is of similar height to Starship, so all my points remain.
I'm laughing so hard I'm trying not to black out over here. So, oh my gosh, this is just absolutely, it's gone wild today. What rails? Was there even a train involved? I don't think so.
Never when you're around.
No, never when anybody's around on this show. Frankly, that's what it is. So everybody, I think on those bombshells. We're going to wrap up our show here today as we head into it. Of course, we can't do this show without all of you. That's right. The members of tomorrow. I almost said citizens, but you are also citizens of tomorrow.
Sounds like you almost said patrons.
Well. Yeah, I almost said patrons too. You're patrons, you're citizens, you're our members, you are our family here at Tomorrow. We appreciate you. Even just if you're viewing right now, you can do that too. And if you would like to become a member of Tomorrow, you can head on over to youtube.com/TMRO/join. What's so cool about that is you can join like right now as you're watching, and you can get access to our members only stream immediately. So you don't even have to wait for anything to kick in. It just kicks in as soon as you are signed up with us. And if you're like these folks who are Escape Velocity members, you get to see our Escape Velocity channel. Actually, not see, you get to participate in our Escape Velocity channel, where we talk about really funny stuff quite often in front of a whole bunch of people. So, the stuff that is like behind the scenes and things like that. If you're an Escape Velocity member, you get to see all of the behind the scenes work, and you get to see that there's a lot of scrambling that goes on with things that are happening there. And Zach, I see your screen, and that's a mighty good looking one right there, if you ask me. I don't remember that part of the movie, but I do think it is slightly appropriate with the engineering capabilities that were around and demonstrated at that time. And as Bennett says, become a member of Tomorrow today. So don't forget to, of course, if you liked what we did today, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share this everywhere. If you liked it, share it everywhere. If you don't like it, share it to 10 people you don't like. So perhaps just, give it a shot. Shoot your shot. You never know what will actually happen. So I'm planning on being here next week. How about y'all? Yep. I think that was a quiet yep from Ryan, but don't worry. We saw the mouth move, and we can read, lips a little bit. So that's kind of how it works. And I think to take us off the show today, I think Eric Frazier has got it right there, which is to activate the Omega 13. So Dutta, if you don't mind, hit it, and we'll see you in the members only show, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.